Unfolding shapeless oceans, I did all my best to smile.
Hoo-hoo-hee. Man, this is one of the few and only times that I've ever been speechless after watching a movie. Hey now, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am continuing my 31 days of horror. I'm on day 4 with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. Wow, this movie came out in either 1994 or 1996. I can't quite find the actual correct date for whatever reason. I'm sure there's multiple reasons. This was written and directed by Kim Henkel. Yes, this all falls on him. The plot is we meet Jenny, who's played by Renee Zellweger. And her high school friends, they leave the prom through various shenanigans and they end up stranded on the road in the middle of the woods because that's what has to happen in one of these movies, right? And they get involved, they encounter the wrong family. And obviously things don't go well. It ends up being one hell of a night for these kids. Now what I think of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation is... I will admit, this is my second time watching this movie ever. And I remember how like vaguely how bad it was, but rewatching it, I almost forgot just how bad this was. Just the deep layers and levels of shittery that this movie endures. And you could blame acting, you could blame setups, or you can blame certain moments in the film, but this all heads on the shoulders of Kim Henkel, who is a guy that's been involved with all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies in one way or another. He wrote the original movie, and so they gave him the keys to the kingdom. They gave him, they let him write and direct this movie. This is all his fault. Everything and anything that's wrong with this movie all falls on him. Let's first talk about these actors. Renee Zellweger being in this movie is shocking. I mean, obviously this is before she was ever famous and big, and well before that, one of her first movies, I'm sure, let's do a horror movie, why not? And she's not bad in the movie, she's not. She has some moments here and there where she seems like she could be a strong female survivor-like character. But for most of the film, it's you know, her trying to get away, screaming, getting caught, brought back to the house. Same thing 4 or 5 more times. It gets tiresome after a while. Again, not her fault. But the biggest mind-blowing thing about this movie is, as far as actors go, Matthew McConaughey. Yes, that Matthew McConaughey is in this movie, and he is playing this psycho killer type guy. And I will admit, he's the best thing about this movie as far as his acting goes, his performance. He's such a great actor. Sure, we all know that now. It's obvious. But even going back before he was famous, I don't know like how far into his acting career he was at this point. But you see that he was committed, that he was willing to go to that next level. The crazy look he has in his eyes and just how psychotic he is. Like from his first scene, and he has a couple of scenes where like the characters, the kids don't know that he's a killer, and he slowly builds to revealing himself. Like when he first shows up and he's fucking around with one of the kids who's unconscious from the car crash, and the one kid's like, oh no, he's not dead, and he's like, no, yeah, he's dead, and if he's not dead, snap, he's dead now, and then he goes full crazy mode, and he's terrifying. He is. Like, if you just made a horror movie that was just based on his character, or if you put Matthew McConaughey and gave him a horror movie where he was the villain, the killer, it would be fucking awesome. It would be phenomenal. Let's do that. Because he is wasted in this movie. He's giving a great performance in a shitty movie. Because there's lots of moments of him just freaking the fuck out. Like one of the scenes where Renee Zellweger grabs a shotgun and she's pointing it at the whole family, and he's not fazed by it at all. In fact, he puts the gun up to his mouth and yells at her to shoot him. And it's just, those scenes work. But everything else surrounding those scenes don't work. Let's talk about the biggest sin that this movie commits. Robert Jacks plays Leatherface, and holy fuck, this movie ruins Leatherface in so many different ways, for so many different reasons. First things first, I'm not going to blame this actor. I'm sure it's not his fault. They said introducing him, so this is his very first movie. They write Leatherface to basically be a cross-dressing, screaming person this whole film. Every time Leatherface is on screen, he's screaming. He's yelling at one of the girls who yells at him, so he yells in reaction. Like, this is a guy that we're supposed to be afraid of. He was scary in the first movie, he was kind of a wuss in the second movie, but nowhere near this level. The third movie rehabbed him and made him scary again. How did we regress? How did we go so far back? Why? Why would you write Leatherface to be like this? You have him dressing up like a woman, wearing dresses, putting on a woman's face and putting makeup on, and it's just like, I don't understand why this fucking writer did this, or why producers, who I'm sure had to at least check in a time or two, didn't see what was going on and said, what the fuck are you making, dude? You're fired. Let me step in and fix this, because this movie could have been fixable. This movie, if you change things here and there, and granted some of these things are big things that you would have to come in and change, but there was a decent, at least decent, maybe good movie in here. But everything else is ruined. It's fucking ruined. You're never once afraid of Leatherface. He's never menacing. The scene at the end where he's chasing Renee Zellweger with the chainsaw, you're not scared at all. And they have the nerve to try to have him reenact the Leatherface chainsaw dance that he does, and it never works because he's a bitch. I'm just gonna say it. He's a fucking pussy in this movie. Fucking terrible. And let's talk about this character, Darla, who's played by Toni Perinsky. And I think she's playing Matthew McConaughey's sister, but there's so many scenes of not only him abusing her and slapping her around and shoving her and damn near killing her, choking her, but then there's a scene of them like making out hardcore and like almost having sex. So I mean, sure, we all knew that this family was inbred, but we got to actually see their wacky, weird relationship. Okay, we have two characters, Heather and Barry. Heather is this real airhead, blonde-like character. She's not even blonde, but she's so dumb. At the very beginning of the movie, she catches her boyfriend cheating on her at prom, kissing another girl, and she gets mad, goes to drive off, but the boyfriend jumps in the car with her, and he's explaining to her how it's her fault that he cheated, because if guys don't have sex, we'll get cancer. So it's her fault for not giving him sex. And she literally stops and goes, oh wow, you might be right. This whole time I haven't been giving you sex. I don't want you to get cancer. Like, she's so fucking dumb. She's an idiot. And so she falls for this. And then when they're stranded on the road looking for help, she keeps going off about how somebody's following them, somebody's gonna kill them, and I guess ultimately she's right, but just her voice, how many times she just kept saying it, like, oh, there's somebody out there. Like, I wanted her to die. I didn't care if she died. She couldn't have died quick enough. And then her boyfriend, Barry, it's like, okay, he's fucked up for cheating on her, but I don't fucking blame him for cheating on her. That's how annoying she was. I probably would have liked him even more if he was a good actor, but he wasn't. Some of his delivery, like a scene where one guy has a shotgun on him and he just puts his hands up and says, you better not do that, because there was a story of somebody shooting a kid outside their house and getting arrested. Like, there's no fear in his voice. He's just talking like he's just having a conversation. Like, dude, show some emotion. Be afraid. Be scared. I hated everybody in this movie, really, besides Renee Zellweger. Now, As scary as Matthew McConaughey was, as much as the scenes with him terrorizing Renee Zellweger and just really fucking with her and torturing her, as much as that was working for what they were, then the movie introduces this subplot of this secret underground organization. A bunch of guys in suits, the Men in Black, I guess, come in, and we find out, plot twist, that Matthew McConaughey, or this whole family maybe, are working for them. And they have some weird cult-like thing. You don't really understand what's going on by that point. The movie just goes so far off the rails that you don't even care. But it undoes everything that was scary about Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey was coming off as just a crazy fuck. Just a guy who was doing this for kicks, for fun. And it seemed like he was torturing her, terrorizing her because he was getting off on it. Now you find out that he's getting paid to do this, or that it's like his job. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? The only good thing about this movie, and you just shit all over it. Wow! Good job, Kim Henkel. Fucking terrible. And then the very end of the movie, good luck trying to make sense of that. Where the organization takes Renee Zellweger and takes her to the hospital, and then she sees the Sally character from the original movie on the stretcher in the hospital, and it's like, what's going on? Somebody make sense of this, because, you know what? Who gives a fuck? Clearly this movie just didn't care. Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, even they begged the studio not to release this movie because their careers were picking up, and they knew that this movie was in the can, and if it came out, it might derail everything. Luckily it didn't, but even they knew how much of a piece of shit movie this was. Fuck you, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. I don't want another generation. I don't want these movies to continue anymore after this fucking movie. Holy fuck! Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too were unlucky to see this movie, just like I did. How much do you think it sucks gigantic balls? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Please won't you save my desires on fire? Sometimes you need a little peace at home. I'm tired, so wired.